Okay, so we're back. We are actually almost done. This is part 2. So we have the neurotransmitter attaching to their specialized receptors on the receiving neuron. So this right here is going to be the dendrite. So let's focus in on an actual picture of that. Okay, so you've turned it on, but exactly how? So this is going to look complicated, but honestly, it's kind of easier to understand the actual details of it than it is just for taking it at face value. Like, okay, the neurotransmitter attaches, now the receiving neuron is on. So what happens is that on the outside of the dendrite, you have these little doors, but the doors are locked. What the doors do is they allow electricity or ions to flow into the neuron, thus turning the electricity on for the next cell. So what happens is that this neurotransmitter binds, and that can be serotonin, dopamine, and a host of other ones. The neurotransmitter binds to the receptor, and that is the key that unlocks the electricity door. So now the ions are able to flow into the next neuron and turn that neuron on, and it just continues to flow. Okay? So the neurotransmitter attaches to dendrites on the receiving neuron. So now the action potential is transferred to the receiving neuron. And on it goes until it reaches its desired destination. Okay, now, the final step is what happens to neurotransmitters after they've attached to these receptors. And there's 3 things that can happen, okay? So let's see, I'm gonna put right here, this is our final step. The used neurotransmitter can do one of 3 things. It can be reabsorbed, it can be dissolved, or it can return to the sending neuron. And we're focusing on this step because it's going to be heavily related to drug use, using the reuptake channel. Drugs are going to block the reuptake channel and keep like dopamine and serotonin in the synapse. So that's why I want to focus on it. So this will be our final picture. We're going to focus on this sending neuron right here. Okay. So the used neurotransmitter can be reabsorbed into the sending neuron. So this was my sending neuron originally. Okay, so I'm going to add into this picture a channel similar to the ones I just showed you over here. It's going to be like a protein channel right there. And my neurotransmitters are going to want to rush inside of this back into the neuron, and then it will be absorbed back into a vesicle until it gets its until it gets an additional action potential and does the job all over again. So these are important, you guys. These are going to be called reuptake channels. If we remember, this is what antidepressants block to keep serotonin inside of the synapse, so that person feels just a general better sense of well-being and happiness about life. And sometimes you guys, just to make life hard, they call it transporter proteins, but they are the same thing. And this is an important concept because drugs are going to interfere with these uptake channels frequently. Okay, so that is neurotransmission. That is how you send signals from neuron to neuron to neuron.